Hey there, year 10s, year 11s, even parents worried about your child's GCSE. You are not going to want to miss this. So, what's happening today on Strive for Success English with Michelle is I'm going to talk you through a 15-sentence story. 15 sentences to write a full story. Yes, you heard me right. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to talk you through a writing prompt and then my grade 9 example of a 15-sentence story based on that prompt. So, like I say, you're not going to want to miss this, especially those people who don't find writing comes naturally to them, and those people who sometimes struggle to come up with ideas. So let's imagine that on your question paper you are given this picture and you are told to either write a story as suggested by the picture or, write a story about a flood, for example. Here we've got the picture and I'm going to go for a narrative story. So thinking about narratives, we usually follow the Freytag's pyramid model, settings, characters, problem, resolution, ending. We have the rising action, climactic point, and then the falling action. So I'm just going to read you this and talk through each paragraph. The flood. The river swelled with brackish water, and the relentless rain drummed like a battle march against rooftops. A swirling army of murky waves surged forth, snapping trees like they were merely twigs, and tearing fences from the earth. By midnight, the riverbank had surrendered, and floodwater poured hungrily into the town's narrow veins. So that's 3 sentences that explain the setting and the setting of the story with part of the problem, which is obviously the flood. What I tried to do there is to make it as descriptive as possible. I've got a couple of similes. I've got metaphor in there, swirling army of murky waves. I've also got personification of the riverbank. And the floodwater being hungry. Right, let's move on to the next paragraph now. You have to bear with me a minute because I can't see it all. Vin sat upright in bed, startled by the guttural roar outside, like a beast had been unleashed. With his heart hammering, he pulled back the curtain and saw chaos outside on the street. "Mum," he shouted out, his voice cracking. "Mum, it's happening again. The river." So that second paragraph there, and it's only 3 sentences long, you can count them, that starts to introduce the characters. The character Vin, who's obviously a child, and his mum. We've got the guttural roar of the way that the water is being described, and like a beast had been released. We've also got some alliteration in heart hammering, and we've got some foreshadowing that this has happened before. It's happening again, the river. So almost telling us that there has been danger previously and there may be danger coming up. So now we move on to our 3 sentences for the problem and 3 sentences for the resolution, 3 sentences for the ending. So 5 paragraphs, 3 sentences in each. Problem. Lights flickered on in panic as doors opened and terrified faces appeared. Across the street, Aisha stood barefoot in her doorway, her hands raised in a trembling wave. Vin waved back with a frozen smile, the kind people wear when they're scared but pretending not to be. So this shows the emotions of the 2 friends, Aisha and Vin, as they're standing in the street. We've also got, lights flickering on in panic, which obviously is some personification there. And also how Vin understands that he is wearing a frozen smile and it's not real. Okay, moving on to resolution. We need to leave now. his mother snapped, yanking him away from the window and down the stairs. She didn't have to explain why. He still remembered the two little boys who hadn't made it last time. Vin grabbed his school bag, the one with his favourite badge on, and followed her into the swirling flood. So obviously they've got outside. This is the resolution of the story. He grabs his school bag, kind of then tells us about the age of Vin, gives us a little bit more background information, and also there's the foreshadowing or the hinting of what's happened previously. So, that he remembered the two little boys who hadn't made it last time, increases the tension and suspense, shows that this is a dangerous situation. Moving on now to the ending, which is 3 more sentences. The water bit at his legs, sharp as ice, and every step was like wading through broken glass. Bile rose in his throat as he felt the destabilising pull of the current. Would they be safe now? So there, I'm ending on a rhetorical question, which shows that, the story hasn't come to a satisfying conclusion. It's like a cliffhanger. Also, we've got sharp as ice as a simile. Wading through broken glass, another simile there. Also talking about senses, bile rising in his throat. So that is the 15-sentence story. So, like I say, 3 sentences for the setting, 3 sentences for the characters, 3 sentences for the problem, 3 sentences for the resolution, and 3 sentences for the ending. You can kind of introduce the problem first if you want to, then move on to setting and characters. Or do characters first, then setting. There's different ways of structuring your work, but if you're someone who struggles with stories, I would suggest keeping to that nice 5-part structure and having a go at these flash fiction micro stories in 15 sentences. So it's over to you. I would like you to have a look at the picture, the flood, write your own 15-sentence story based on that image. You can email them to me, or you can put them in the comments. I would love to hear what you thought about my story, whether you think it's possible to get grade 9 in just 15 sentences. And also, I want to just say that, you can achieve high marks with 15 sentences, but they need to fit the assessment criteria. They need to be well organised, well structured, good spelling, punctuation and grammar. They also need to use ambitious vocabulary. If you're writing a narrative, it's got a clear narrative structure to it. Also varying your sentences for effect, including figurative language, personification, metaphors, similes, and basically having a story that flows really well and gives us an idea of characterization and feelings. So once again, I've been GCSE English with Michelle from Strive for Success. The aim is to help you master your English GCSE. For teachers, you can use some of my prompts or model examples to support your teaching and learning. I've been a teacher of over 25 years and a successful tutor, and I just want to share my years of experience to help people deal with revision with GCSE English Language and eventually moving on to GCSE English Literature. I'll be doing more language than lit because you already have such amazing people out there doing their stuff, like Mr. Bruff, who does a wonderful job for the literature side of things. So I want to concentrate mainly on writing. I will be doing a little bit on reading, but it's mainly improving your writing techniques to ace that second part of the paper. So if you've enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and also can you share with someone who might find this useful. Also, if you need tutoring, I do tutoring sessions over Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you are. Not got much availability at the moment, but there's a couple of spaces maybe left for September. So if you fancy that, you can drop me an email and ask whether that is still free. Okay, so see you again soon.